verse 8:28 said, we know that all things work together for the good of them that love God and to them that are called according to his purpose. As I said earlier, that sometimes things happen in our life, good and bad, that we don't understand, and they don't make sense. They're really not supposed to make sense to us, because Habakkuk said the just shall live by faith. So when we live by faith, that's walking blindly. That's walking really without a lot of sight. Now, it's not saying that we just stepping out with no end goal in mind. It's not saying that we just stepping out there just whatever happen. No, walking by faith is you see the end, you see the goal, you see the mission, you see where you're going, but you might not necessarily see the road that you got to take to get there. That's walking by faith. See, I said, I know where I'm trying to go, but I don't know how I'm going to get there. I know what I'm trying to get, but I don't know how I'm going to get it. I know what the result is going to be, but I don't know the process it's going to take me to get there. That's walking by faith. And see, as we walk by faith, there are things that happen that are not supposed to make sense. It's not supposed to make sense to us. We can't make sense out of it. Why is it not supposed to make sense? It's not supposed to make sense to us, because if it made sense to us, then we can figure it out ourselves. And if it made sense to us, then we wouldn't need God to lean on. If it made sense to us, we wouldn't need to trust in God if it made sense. And if it made sense to me, I would know exactly what to do, exactly how to do it. I can calculate, and I can properly calculate out my life. But it ain't supposed to make sense. And sometimes we see things that are being taken away from our life, whether it be a job, or whether it be individuals, or whether it be material things, or whether it be things that are precious to us, that we see them taken away from our life. It seems like for no reason. However it may happen, and it don't make sense to us. It's not supposed to make sense. Sometimes things have to be removed from our life in order for something else to be placed there. Sometimes things have to be removed from our life so that God can move it. Because as long as those things are in our life, we can't get to the next place that we need to get to, because we didn't have that thing that's blocking the way. So sometimes things have to be removed. Sometimes God has to move things out of our life. If we never had gotten fired from that job, we never, the new door never would have opened up. If we never lost this thing, we never would have gained this experience. So it's not, things are not supposed to make sense, but we got to be thankful in everything. Anytime something happens to us, we got to be able to be thankful. We got to tell God, even if we don't understand, we ain't supposed to understand it. God didn't say that we was going to understand everything. He didn't say that we was going to know everything. But he said that if we trust him, he'll never leave us nor forsake us. He said he'll be right there by our side. All we got to do is trust him, and he will lead us, and he will guide us, and he will lead us into green pastures. God will keep us. Everything is not supposed to make sense. Why? Because people need to, when people see our life, the wise of the world, when the world look at our life, it confines their mind. It confines their mind. They're confounded. They don't understand. People become dumbfounded when they see the way God working in the life of his people, and it doesn't make sense. Why? Those things, let's go back, let's look at Corinthians. It said, verse 27, but God had chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. God had chosen the weak things of the world to confound the mighty. And base things of the world and things which are despised have God chosen. Those base things and those things which are despised, those things, those base things, those things that really of little value, and the things that are despised, the things that don't nobody want to have nothing to do with, the things that don't nobody want, those are the things that God chose. I don't know, there may be something here or even watching on this video here. You might have been that individual that really didn't nobody want to have nothing to do with, but God chose you. But God looked down and he saw you. Didn't nobody really want to love you. Nobody really wanted to have nothing to do with you. Nobody really cared anything about you. They didn't care nothing about you. They thought you was going to be nothing. They thought you was base. You were despised. But God had chosen. And then those things which are not to bring to naught those things that are, those things that are not, things that are dead, that really don't have in their life of God. Choose those things to bring to naught things that are. He chooses those things to overthrow things that are, things that are above the God, that raise themselves above the knowledge of God. God has to overthrow those things. Why does God do this? He said that no flesh should glory in his presence.
Amen.
See, if God chose, now, and it say, look, now let's get a good understanding. Let's look at verse 26. Said, for ye see your calling, brethren, how that not many wise men after the flesh, not many mighty and not many noble are called. It didn't say no wise are called, and it didn't say no mighty, it didn't say no noble, it just said not many.
Right.
Because truth be told, that people that fall into this category, the wise, the mighty, and the noble, there are very few in this category that have some humility about themselves. And there are very few in this category that will submit to a holy God. And see, God chose the ones of the foolish, the things that are not mighty, the things that are weak, the things that are not noble, the things that are foolish, the things that are weak, the things that God has chosen, the things that are despised, the things that are not, the things that are base. God chooses these things. Why does God choose these things? Because that no flesh should glory in his sight. Because we know, and some we know folks that if God chooses somebody that already got some sense, that already got a bunch of wisdom, already got a bunch of might, and they're already very noble, they may not, the flesh may glory in the sight of God. Their own flesh may be lifted up in glory in the sight of God, in the sight of his people. The flesh get lifted up, so God has to choose things. Not saying that he won't choose someone that's already wise, but we say not many. Because we know that most of the time, a majority of the time, people that are already in this category find it very, very, very difficult to submit themselves to humility.
Amen.
Under God. So God don't need no flesh glorying in his sight. It ain't supposed to make sense. It's not supposed to make sense to why God chooses who he chooses and why he chooses who he chooses. So flesh won't glory in his sight.
Amen.